Hi everyone. My name is Sumesh and I'm doing my cybersecurity masters from New England College, and I'm here to talk about my second semester that I'm just about to complete. And I have to specifically talk about what did I learn during this and how does it all relate to my course, and where does it take me from here once I'm done with this with this course, right? So let me start with the first part where I would be talking about what kind of a work I did and what did I learn, right? So at my internship with my company, I am working there as a network, cloud, and security IT engineer, right? And then my work involves working a lot on cloud. On the cloud, it can be anything from setting up the VPCs to setting up resource groups on Azure. Then I work a lot on Zscaler, where it is the private access that we manage. I work a lot on identity on these. So some of the key takeaways or the work that I did and how it related to my course is like, say, I did a lot of cleaning up of unused VMs on both Azure as well as AWS, some of the specific unused and dead load balancers. So how does it relate to my course is like, say, many a times a lot of unused and forgotten pieces of infrastructure are lying around, which can be a security loophole for the company. So any kind of unused resources needs to be cleaned up. Then I created a resource group on the Azure side, and I did it from scratch. So I had all the requirements from the project. So I uh, did the IP addressing for it, related subnetting, so that different subnets are there in that resource group. And finally, I made some security related rules on it, so that only specific ports and protocols are open on that, right? And not like everything or anybody can reach them, or they are accessible to public. So it was all part of related to my course on network security. I made the other course that I'm taking is for cybersecurity planning and management. And as our company does a lot of work with help of AI tools like Cursor, Claude, ChatGPT, and a lot of people are writing a lot of code using these tools. So when these tools or when these codes go into AWS or Azure, they can have some kind of worms or bugs in them. And whenever before they are getting deployed, right, we have to have those checks and balances. There are a lot of there are some tools that Nessus and Tennis that can look into those codes before they are provisioned. So I worked on them so that anything getting deployed in our infrastructure is getting vetted before. And then there are checks so that another person or another engineer or a superior can look at those codes before they are getting deployed. There was a specific incident related to S3 bucket, and in that somebody cleaned up or made some changes to the rules of the retention, and they reduced them from 180 days to around 60 days. And once that rule was hit, right, after some days, all the files which were older than 60 days were gone. And then after 5 or 6 days, somebody came and they were looking at those files and saw that those files are gone. So what we saw was one of the architects had made some changes, and there was no documentation, there was no communication, there were no vetting from another engineer, there was no change management. So all these kind of things we learn on our cybersecurity side, right? The two courses that we are taking, those were highlighting the concepts that we learn and what we see in practice. So these kind of changes should not be done. And we see that over giving privileges to people can also impact the organization. Sometimes they can do some work which they think is right, but then at the end, it all many things get messed up. One another incident where I worked on the network security was some specific some specific IP addresses were not accessible from the internet side, even though they were accessible from our inside network with use of Zscaler. So I troubleshooted them, and it was a asymmetric routing issue where traffic was going one way out but coming back the other way, and it was the the access was not working for people. A lot of my work relates to IAM policies where specific users or specific roles are given related permissions, and we always talk in our course about least privileges. So we I work on those IAM roles so that a specific subset of people or a specific roles are given specific permissions to make changes, not like everyone or everybody can do those kind of changes. At the end of this semester, I worked on AWS costing as well, where we saw our monthly usage was getting higher, and then I saw that the minimum cost that we were giving every time to AWS was a specific amount. So I looked into the AWS costing, and we saw that if we are committed to a specific amount for a year, then we could save 7 or 8%. So as I said, like say the two courses that I'm taking, cybersecurity principles, cybersecurity procedures and principles, and network security. So all my work is, I would say, a lot of it is related to these two courses. Where do this all lead me to? So what I see, what I'm learning from my course and my internship is gonna lead me towards I would like to be a cloud security architect in future, where I can look into all the bits and pieces and connect them together like a jigsaw puzzle, connecting them together from the network side, from the security side, cloud, IAM roles and policies and procedures, and combine them together, and make my way or do my work accordingly. A lot of work comes with the documentation as well that I am creating every now and then as tickets or issues come to me, so that any other engineer who is working on those issues, he can relate to the document, so everybody is doing the same work the same manner, instead of uh, every time a problem comes, somebody is trying to do something differently. This documentation is talked a lot about in our courses as well, so documentation is going to help. The specific tools that I am working on will change with time, and as the industry is evolving, cybersecurity is evolving, cloud architecture, everything is evolving, but the basic principles that we are learning through these courses will always remain the same. And if you are having a good grasp of these basic principles, then you are gonna be kind of you can future proof yourself. Overall, I would say it was a very successful second semester. I have learned a lot from my courses and have applied them or related them to my everyday work as well, and I hope I continue to doing the same in future as well. Thank you.